My wife twisted the story to her family and painted me as the problem, just to cover up her own cheating. Her brother ended up picking a fight with me at the barbecue. But now, people are starting to see what really happened. I was the last person to realize what was going on, until the lies started showing up everywhere. And when her family came to confront me, I never imagined the worst was still to come. But now, the truth is starting to come out, and nothing is going to stop what's about to happen. I'm 33 years old, and I've been married to my wife, who's 27, for almost 3 years. Before that, we were together for about 4 years. I'm not going to say our relationship was perfect, like a fairy tale. It was a normal relationship, like any other. We had our arguments, like all couples do, but nothing out of control, nothing violent, nothing toxic, just the usual stuff in a typical marriage. Every summer, her family hosts a big barbecue at her parents' house. The backyard gets filled with folding chairs, kids running around everywhere, a speaker playing country music, that classic vibe, burgers, beer, and small talk. I was a bit late this year because I had to work in the morning, but I showed up like always, bringing a case of beer and a huge tray of pasta salad that her mom loves. I walked in and started greeting everyone, and right away, I felt something was off. You know that weird vibe when you walk into a place and feel like everyone's looking at you funny? Her brother didn't even acknowledge me. Normally, he's the first one to hand me a beer and start chatting about sports, but this time he just stared at me like I wasn't even there. Some of her cousins were ignoring me too. I figured maybe they were drunk or there was some family drama going on that changed the mood. So I didn't think too much of it and went to grab a plate of food. But right in the middle of the barbecue, while everyone was standing around talking in the backyard, her brother came up to me and shoved me hard. I was in shock. I almost dropped the plate I was holding. He got in my face, yelling, saying he was tired of seeing me hurt his sister and that he wasn't afraid to stand up to me. I just stood there, thinking, what the hell is going on? Everyone started watching. Some people tried to hold him back. His dad grabbed him, and their uncle stepped in to separate us. I stayed still with my hands up, because I wasn't about to punch my wife's brother in her parents' backyard. I'm not stupid. If I hit him back, I'd be the villain, even if I didn't start it. It would have turned into a massive scene. Kids crying, her mom screaming. I just said, you know what? Screw this. I set the plate down and left. Got in my truck and drove off, because what else was I supposed to do? Stick around and wait for the next fight? My wife wasn't even there yet. She had texted me earlier saying she'd be arriving late. I tried asking her brother what was going on, why he was acting like that, but he refused to talk. I spent the night at my brother's house, trying to make sense of what had just happened. I sent my wife a bunch of messages. She ignored me for hours. Around midnight, she finally replied, crying, sobbing, doing the whole I'm sorry act. I asked, what's going on? Why is your family acting like I did something terrible? And that's when she told me everything. She had cheated on me 3 months ago. Said it was just once, a mistake, that she didn't know how to tell me. And when her family started noticing she was acting strange, getting distant from me, spending nights at a friend's house, that kind of thing, she panicked. She didn't want to admit she had made such a huge mistake, so she told them she was afraid of me. Said I was aggressive, had anger issues, and that she didn't know how to end things with me. So not only did she cheat, she lied and let her whole family believe I was some controlling, manipulative person who scared her and wouldn't let her leave the relationship. I went back home and packed a bag right away. Didn't even argue with her. I grabbed some clothes, threw them in a backpack, and went straight back to my brother's place. I didn't want to look at her. I didn't want to hear excuses or see crocodile tears. Since then, she's been messaging me nonstop. Long, emotional texts apologizing, begging to talk, saying she never meant for things to go this far. Promising to clear everything up with her family, to tell them the truth, saying everything will get better if I just come back home. Yeah, like that's the only issue here. You can't destroy my reputation, make me look like some psycho to your parents, siblings, cousins, and then cry about the consequences. Not to mention the cheating, which would have been reason enough to end everything on its own. I've been thinking about all of it. about how much I tried to be a good husband. The time, the energy, the love I put into this marriage. And she threw it all away because she couldn't keep her legs closed and then tried to cover it up by painting me as the monster. The cheating alone was already a death sentence for our marriage, I know that. But making up lies like that, turning her whole family against me, just to save her own skin? That's serious. At the very least, it deserves a divorce. And honestly, I don't even know what else. Part of me is still sitting here, stunned, trying to understand how this became my reality. Anyway, I'm not even sure what I'm looking for here. Advice? Support? Maybe just someone to tell me I'm not crazy for thinking this is unforgivable, because honestly, it really feels unforgivable to me. Update 1. It's been a few days since everything blew up, so I figured it was worth posting an update. After I left and started staying at my brother's place, I went completely silent with my wife. I needed space to breathe and clear my head without her manipulation clouding my judgment. Well, turns out being ignored didn't sit well with her, because 2 nights ago she just showed up at my brother's house like a lunatic. It was around 8 in the evening. I was in the guest room, just scrolling on my phone trying to distract myself, when I heard the doorbell ring like 5 times in a row. Then I heard my brother call out, "Your cheating wife is trying to break into the house." I went downstairs and saw her standing there on the porch, yelling that she needed to talk to me, that she made a mistake, that she didn't want to lose me, all the same crap you'd expect from someone sleazy enough to cheat and then desperate enough to beg for forgiveness. My brother had the door barely cracked open, basically telling her to leave before he called the cops. And he wasn't joking. He was already furious about what happened at the barbecue, and after finding out about the cheating, he got even more protective of me. Meanwhile, she was out there completely losing it, screaming that the only reason she told her family I was aggressive was because she was afraid they'd turn on her if they knew she cheated. She kept repeating it over and over. And even if I could forgive that lie, there was still the cheating itself, which meant I'd be swimming against the current. She kept trying to make it sound like the only issue here was the lie to her family, but that was just the tip of the iceberg. It was like seeing the shark fin above the water, when the real danger, the entire shark with razor-sharp teeth, was the betrayal underneath. At one point, she even tried to force her way into the house. My brother physically blocked the door and said to her, straight up, "If you don't leave in 30 seconds, I'm calling the cops." In the end, she left crying and mumbling to herself, walked back to her car and drove off. The whole thing lasted maybe 20 or 30 minutes, but it felt like hours. After she left, I was furious. How dare she show up here acting like the victim after everything she did? Like she still has a right to even 5 minutes of my time after trying to destroy my life and reputation? And just when I thought the drama was over for the night, my phone started ringing again. First, it was her mother. Seems like they've figured out the truth now, but she was still trying to defend her. Even her brother, yeah, the same one who attacked me at the barbecue, called me saying he misjudged me, but that I should try talking to her and working things out. I don't even know if they really know about the cheating or if they're just defending her because she's family. But you know what? I don't care what her family thinks. My family is on my side, and that's what matters. It's not like I'm going to be spending time with her family after the divorce anyway. The next morning, after all those messages and calls, I contacted a divorce attorney. And not just to ask questions, I scheduled a real meeting. I want to make this official. No taking a break, no thinking it through, no couples therapy to try and shift the blame onto me. I'm done with that nonsense. I'm going to file for divorce and end this chapter for good. There might even be a lawsuit coming, because she's been telling people I'm abusive. I spent years with this woman, and this is how she repays me? It wasn't enough to cheat, she tried to destroy my name, too. Well, she messed with the wrong guy, just like I married the wrong woman. But I'm not going to take this lying down. I won't cave. The lawyer is hired. The divorce papers are being prepared. Okay, maybe not literally this very second, but you get the idea. I don't answer her calls anymore. I don't read her messages. To me, she's already my ex. And you know what? It feels great. It feels liberating. Update 2. A few days after I posted my last update, I was still staying at my brother's place, trying to figure out my next steps, especially how I was going to handle the divorce, when I got an unexpected message from someone I barely knew, one of my wife's co-workers. Let's call her Marcy. I never really knew Marcy well. I'd seen her maybe once or twice at a holiday party, that was it. So when she texted me, I was suspicious. I thought maybe it was a trap to make me look like the bad guy, but no. Marcy turned out to be the MVP of this whole story. She said she felt extremely guilty because she knew what was going on and believed I deserved to know the truth. Apparently, the guy my wife cheated with, that coworker, wasn't just some one-night mistake, like she tried to make it seem when she confessed. They'd been hooking up for months. Marcy told me that everyone at work knew. She said the guy, let's call him Randall, because of course that would be his name, even bragged about it at the last office party. He said my wife was stuck in a controlling marriage and he was helping her find happiness again. Marcy also admitted she had issues with my wife at work. But honestly, I didn't care if she had her own motives. It was useful to me. And it wasn't hard to believe. If my wife could manipulate her own family to cover up her cheating, I can't even imagine what she might have done at work to get ahead. Truth is, I wouldn't be surprised if there were more Marcys out there. And this whole controlling husband story? Total fiction. I barely had the energy to argue with her, let alone control her. I worked all day, paid the bills, and gave her all the freedom in the world to go out with her friends whenever she wanted. The only thing I ever asked for was respect and honesty. But apparently, that was too much to ask. That's when I sprang into action. Marcy sent me screenshots, texts between her and my wife, where my wife talked excitedly about living a double life, bragging about how well she was hiding everything from me. She also sent me messages from Randall, where he gloated about how easy it was because my wife told him her husband, me, didn't even pay attention to her. When I read those messages, I didn't feel angry. Quite the opposite. I felt calm. Focused. Like I finally had a mission. So I created a group chat. I added her parents, her brother, cousins, aunts, even some family friends who were at the barbecue. Everyone who looked at me sideways or called me a coward in the past few days was in that group. And I laid it all out. Everything she had said about me was a lie, made up to cover the fact that she'd been cheating on me for months with some random coworker. And I backed it all up with the messages and screenshots Marcy had sent me. There was no room for doubt. Didn't take long. About an hour later, I got a call from her brother, the same guy who shoved me and tried to start a fight at the barbecue. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity got the better of me. First thing he did was apologize. And it was a real apology. He said he regretted believing her lies and for pushing me. Said he felt like a complete idiot for attacking me without knowing the whole story. Then I got a message from her mom. A huge wall of text saying how ashamed she was of her daughter, how she couldn't believe the person she had become, and that she was sorry for thinking the worst of me. Apparently, the news spread fast. Some of her cousins unfollowed her on Facebook. A few even messaged me privately to apologize for how they treated me at the barbecue. Said they had no idea what was actually going on. Meanwhile, my soon-to-be ex was getting torn apart in the group chat. Her mom and brother were furious, demanding answers, asking why she did all of it. The last message I saw before muting the group was from her brother, saying she owed me way more than just an apology. I didn't have to lift a finger after that. Her own lies did all the work for me. She still tried to call me after the group blew up. I blocked her number. Blocked her on social media. My lawyer already has the divorce papers ready, and the process is officially underway. And that's it. Now she's the villain in her family's eyes, just like I was at that barbecue. The news is spreading among our friends. I'm already hearing that her perfect little life, built on lies, is crumbling piece by piece. And you know what the best part is? There couldn't be a more deserving person for it to happen to. Update 3. After her whole family turned against her after I shared all the screenshots and proof and everyone started going off on her, she didn't apologize. She didn't change her attitude. Instead, she switched strategies like an F1 driver on the last lap. Next thing I know, she's spinning a brand new story. She started saying I emotionally neglected her, and that's why she made bad choices. That she felt trapped, lonely, and had no choice but to cheat. Just to be clear, she never said any of that during the years we were together. Not even once. At first, I thought maybe some naive people would believe her version. Maybe a few friends who only heard her side, but no. That didn't happen. Truth is, once you cheat, people stop believing you. From what I've heard, she even tried to post something on social media, but it totally backfired. One of her old friends literally commented, "Girl, you lied about abuse. Cut the crap and own up to what you did." Pure gold. Honestly, I wish I could print that comment and frame it on my wall. Some people hang pictures of ships or horses. I'd hang a screenshot of my ex getting absolutely roasted in the comments. Even her aunt, who used to be really close to her, messaged me out of nowhere saying, "You deserve someone better. I'm sorry for this family member. She doesn't represent who we are, and we're ashamed that she ever did." Apparently, after basically getting kicked out of her parents' house, my ex tried to stay at her aunt's place. But the response was, not a chance. Her aunt told her she needed to get her life together, because no one else was going to cover for her lies anymore. It wasn't much different with her parents. Her mom told her to get a grip, said she was ashamed of her, and told her not to even think about showing up at church. And it's not like they're trying to keep this quiet. Everyone knows. The truth's out. Oh, and just for the record, she tried calling me again, from a different number. I didn't answer, but I knew it was her. Later, she confirmed it with a long message saying that we both made mistakes, that relationships are complicated, and that deep down, she still loved me. I was curious what my mistakes were, but to know that, I'd have to actually reply. She also said, nobody's perfect and that I shouldn't act like I was. Funny, because I never claimed to be. But forgetting to buy something at the store or leaving a plate in the dishwasher is very different from hiding a months-long affair. I included all of that in the divorce paperwork. My lawyer's fully informed. He also made notes about the false claims of abuse and emotional distress. He said it could come in handy if she tries something crazy like asking for alimony or going after my money. I've also heard from a few people that things aren't going well for her at work. Apparently, there's a lot of shady stuff going on and Marcy is making the most of it. HR found out she was having an affair with a coworker who, by the way, is also married. Because of course, why not throw another layer of filth onto this disaster cake? Now she's being investigated. I don't know if they'll fire her, but from what I've heard, she's on some kind of probation. And as usual, she took to the internet to whine, saying her workplace is toxic and that she's being targeted for being a woman. No, sweetheart. You're being targeted because you can't keep your lies or your legs closed. Meanwhile, I'm here, calm, wrapping up the divorce, focused on work. All I want is for life to get back to normal after these chaotic weeks. Every now and then, someone gives me an update on how she's doing. And yeah, I know it's a little petty, but I'm not going to pretend it doesn't feel good to watch the truth come out. Next update will probably be when the divorce is finalized. And honestly, I'm feeling pretty optimistic that it'll be over soon. Update 4. The divorce was finalized a few days ago, way faster than even my optimism expected. But it makes sense. We had no kids, no joint mortgage, nothing long-term tying me to her. The only shared thing was the apartment lease, which was in my name, so I kept the place without even needing to argue. During mediation, she tried to claim she needed money to relocate, as if she were being evicted or something. But my lawyer crushed that argument like a hammer on a grape. After we laid out everything she had done, her lawyer basically threw in the towel and said, "It's not worth fighting for." She walked out of that process looking like she got kicked in the teeth. And the moment I signed the papers, I left. She tried to have one last conversation with me, but I just said, "I don't have time for this. Good luck with your life." Her family still barely talks to her, especially her mom. From what I've heard, Her mom's been telling people at church she's praying her daughter comes to her senses. What's interesting is they're not hiding the story. At church, nobody's sugarcoating anything. Quite the opposite. As for her job, no, she didn't get fired directly, but karma didn't let her off easy either. She's on some kind of probation period that could last for months, and there's a massive report added to her record. According to Marcy, she's become a sort of pariah in the office. No promotions, no major projects, just go in, do the bare minimum, keep her head down, and hope she doesn't give them a reason to cut her loose. She didn't tell me any of this, but I get the feeling Marcy's working something behind the scenes. And the best part, the guy she cheated on me with dumped her the moment everything came out. From what I heard, he ghosted her about a week after the screenshots started circulating in the group chats. Blocked her everywhere. At work, he only talks to her if it's absolutely necessary. Not even a hi. And of course, didn't even have the guts to break up face to face. Now I'm back in the apartment. Cleaned the whole place from top to bottom. Got rid of anything that had her scent on it. New furniture, new bedding, even got a new coffee machine. Might sound dramatic, but for me, it was a fresh start. I even thought about moving, but I like it here. I'm not letting her ruin this place for me. And I know she never brought that guy here, because the building staff would have told me. Career-wise, I'm doing great. I worked hard for years to build something solid, and now that I'm free of her drama, I'm finally seeing the results. Might even take a vacation this year. Honestly, I just wanted to vent a little. The more I think about it all, the more pathetic it seems. Not just what she did, but the time I wasted trying to keep something alive that had already been dead long before I realized it. What's crazier is thinking that, if nothing had exploded, she would have kept lying to me every single day. Sitting at the dinner table, looking me in the eye, smiling, watching me build a future with someone who couldn't even give me basic respect. It wasn't just the cheating. It was the lies, the gaslighting, the complete lack of guilt until she got caught. She didn't care about me, she cared about not being found out. And I'm not pretending I'm perfect. I had my flaws, we had arguments, rough patches, but I never made her feel unsafe, I never humiliated her, and I sure as hell didn't throw everything away because I was bored or craving attention. It still blows my mind how easily she threw it all away. In the end, people show you who they are. Sometimes we just don't want to see it. I wanted to believe she was better than that. Smarter. Loyal enough to be honest when things got tough. But she wasn't. And now I'm the one cleaning up the mess she made, while she plays the victim. But that's fine. She can keep acting as long as she pays what she owes, because there's still a lawsuit pending against her. She can victimize herself all she wants, but it's not really working out for her. Update 5. Got a new update, this time brought to you courtesy of Marcy, who's been actively working to deliver a bit more karma to my ex-wife. None of this is my doing, I'm not involved. And I'm not saying that to wash my hands of it, but because I don't want credit I don't deserve. From my side, I had a small win in the lawsuit we filed against her, but it's minor compared to what's coming next. So I'll start there, we won the case, which actually took way longer than the divorce itself. These things are harder to resolve. But it's done. The judge gave the verdict, and my ex had to pay $2,500. It's not about the money, because $2,500 isn't that much. It's about the satisfaction of watching someone who hurt you be forced to pay for it. And honestly, $2,500 for a few hours of humiliation at a barbecue? Not bad. My job doesn't even pay me that for 2 hours of work. Now let's talk about what the real MVP Marcy pulled off. And yeah, I can't deny it felt very satisfying to see her put someone as manipulative as my ex in her place. Last I shared, my ex was under probation at work, just one step away from being tossed out with her cardboard box. And Marcy was actively working to make that happen. Well, she did it. Took some effort, but she did it. Honestly, I kind of feel sorry for anyone who ends up on Marcy's bad side. But I'm also not arrogant enough to believe I was the only person my ex lied to. She made plenty of enemies at her own job. Pathological liars don't just lie in one part of their life. So Marcy dug around and found out my ex had misled and manipulated a client. Marcy informed the client. The client filed a complaint. And my ex got fired, no severance, no compensation, nothing. I think back to the cheating, and listen, I'm not giving advice on how to be unfaithful, but cheating at work is a terrible idea. Because if you get caught, and I hope you do, you'll lose way more than you ever expected. My ex didn't get fired just because of that, but it was a close call. And while Marcy definitely took this personally, she wasn't the only one gunning for my ex, not by a long shot. According to Marcy, she just happened to be the most proactive of the bunch. And in her own words, the street is exactly where my ex belongs. And that's it. Can't promise this'll be my last update, because I don't know if Marcy's thirst for revenge has been fully quenched. I'm doing fine. But Marcy acts like my ex slept with the guy she's secretly in love with. No judgment. But honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if one of these weekends she called me up like, "Hey Opie, guess what I just pulled on your ex? I just hope it's never something illegal. Like, hey Opie, I need help burying something in the woods at 4 a.m. Hopefully it's more like, I signed your ex up for a giraffe coat catalog. Just kidding. Sure. Or so I hope. I think. Anyway, thank you to everyone who's been following this mess. Because even though I can laugh about it now, those first few posts came from a really dark place. And having people in my corner made it all a little more bearable.
Reddit Relics comment. This story shows that the truth always comes out, sooner or later. It's not just about cheating, it's about character, accountability, and the consequences of the choices we make. Honestly, watching the OP rise above all the chaos while keeping his dignity is pretty inspiring. Let this be a reminder, karma might take its time, but when it hits hard. If you liked the video, smash that like button, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss the next wild Reddit tale. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.